Typeset correctly. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, waiting for my co-producer, co-host here. As soon as Max gives the word to Mary, she's going to pull him in on the show tonight. Welcome to the show. I am not in the studio, so I don't really know even what day or date or time it is right now, but I'll be over there soon when I'm ready. I had the doctor's appointment today, didn't want to go get an echocardiogram, which we'll be talking about a little bit, and a very interesting character I met who may be listening tonight, Josiah. I want to reach out to Josiah tonight. Very smart person. Actually, we've met a couple of motivated people this week, which is very unusual in this day and time. To tell you the truth, very unusual. And actually, our cab driver that took us to the hospital today for my echocardiogram was very intelligent. Somebody just popped on. Whop, I heard it. Whop, I don't know what it was. But anyway, yeah, very intelligent lady who I like a lot. Actually, uh, she's not married. She had well, Marion's got some noise going on here now, so we'll finish that and then we'll see what happens. If I don't have a show tonight, I'm moving to Sam Broadcaster. Moving to Sam Broadcaster immediately if I have to go broke and shop at the Goodwill to do it. So, yeah, that's what I want to do. So, you guys just hang on to all of this shenanery. There's Max. Max?
Yes,
Max,
yes,
are
sir.
you there? Can you
Yes,
hear
I'm
me?
here. Yes, I
Well,
can. Can
good.
you hear
Go
me?
over there and put his video off. Turn his video off, please. Yeah, I can. She's got something to do here first. Yeah, yeah. We're just kind of going crazy here in the studio for a minute, just as usual. Let me complete insanity here, but no less insanity that's going on here than in Washington D.C. with all of our kooky friends. So we can afford a little insanity here with you and me tonight. So let me let her get you video off, and well, your video's off. That's good. So we're not dragging the bandwidth down, the power down, whatever.
Yes.
That's a good thing. As I was saying, and Marion, you need to check Marion, see if we're running live on any. I know we're on iHeart, and I know we're on what's the other one? Spotify, and we're running on all kinds of powerful platforms tonight, whether we're on the pages or not, which is really a plus for me in the mood I'm in right now. I tell you, Max will be glad to know that we made it back to iHeart Radio, which is AM radio, Max. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, Max, we
Yeah,
are on
that's a
AM
plus.
radio.
That's a challenge. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's kind of scary, really. I'm kind of scared, kind of nervous, Max. We're on AM radio. It's like, oh my God, how did we make it to AM radio? But yeah, that's kind of a plus for this particular platform, if you will. But I was saying before Max came in and rudely interrupted me. No, I'm kidding. No pun intended, Max. But I was saying we met some intelligent people this week, and I was like stunned. I met this guy named Josiah who was just brilliant, just unbelievable. Just I don't know where this guy came from. He was washing his clothes at the laundromat, and I had the squad car. Well, I call it the squad car, the unit, um, over there, and smoking a cigarette, waiting for Marion and her mother to come out of the store. And I met this guy, smoked a cigarette with him, and man, this guy just starts off bang, 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 bang. He's reading my mind, man. He's like, man, dude, what planet did you come from? And he was like, just like you and I, Max. He was just like our twin. He was like everything we've ever talked about. He stood there and spewed for the 20 minutes. I'm like, my God, this isn't happening. This isn't possible. So I didn't get the guy's phone number, but I did tell him who I was and to look me up on Google. And Josiah, if you're listening tonight, man, thank you, dude. Thank you, thank you. And I met another intelligent lady today who took us in the little cab thing I ride in. That I'm an old man now, I get transportation, you know. And she was intelligent. She wants to join the disaster team. She's coming into the disaster team. She's a former CNA and a CA and a PA and a whatever. She's done it all, and now she's driving a cab. She's not married. She's kind of cute, and she's little, and she has a newborn a baby. You know that she had a little accident, got a little too drunk one night, and went out and had a problem, and anyway, their little problem came out. Now she's got to take care of it. But anyway, she might even come on air with us. She's really something else. But anyway, so thanks. You know, a couple of good things have happened, and I want you to share your good things, Max. If you've had any crazy things happen like that, I want to hear about it. Has any have you met any human beings with intelligence lately? What I mean, super intelligence?
I came across a couple of people. Talking with them has brightened my horizons on certain things, like um, L.A. King, La King. She, her and her mission with trying to get her cannabis store opened and it being um, brought down by the neighboring businesses that say they were um, a jeopardy to their business opening, but her business was already in um, it was already in motion and already had been okayed by the city, but they had went ahead and found a rehab to go against her and say that they wanted to open their business there while her business is already in motion, already constructed and being filled while they're making these um, claims to the city. So um, she has been trying and fighting to get her business open. She has MS and she uses it for medical purposes and is trying to
Yeah.
bring that to the neighborhood so that the community can be helped and raise awareness as
Right.
well. So it's a real big old crazy a crazy confusion and a big old mishaps by the city, but the business should have did their research before because there's a liquor store in the area. There's a few liquor stores in the area, and a business that sells pizza that says beer and wine on there. And the business
Yeah.
was complaining about the rehab was complaining about their constituents seeing those signs and triggering from the cannabis, but not from the alcohol in the area. So it's like, wait, what's going on? Hold on. So we want to raise awareness about that because Sacramento is, you know, strong arming the cannabis business. They have 30 businesses out here, and none of them are ran by African Americans. Only one, excuse me, one is ran by African Americans solely. But they have a charter and have a lottery for us to get into. And this woman has been given her grants by the city, and they have
Let's don't
helped her get the lottery. But she
let's
hasn't.
let's don't soil the name of our beautiful uh, black folks anymore by calling them American, by calling them American. Let's stop that. Let's you and I be the first to stop that because there is no America. We don't have an America. We never have had an America. America is the downfall of black folks. It's the downfall of black folks. It's the epitome of slavery for black folks. It is the pit of hell for black folks. It is the um, most diabolical brainwashing, mind control system. MK Ultra on crack, Pegasus on crack, Mockingbird on crack, place for black folks in the world. So let's don't soil the name of black folks anymore. Let's come up with another name. Just call them black folks and or Negroes or whatever they want to be called. I mean, what I mean, there's some black people I know want to be called Negroes, Negroes. But I don't know. So let's don't soil the name anymore. America is the pit of hell for black folks. The
Yeah, in the
pit of
pit of
hell.
in the pit of names, we don't know. They done mixed the names up so much. I mean, it's
Well,
hard to even classify
yeah,
yourself as anything in this damn country if you're black.
but black. I'd just rather call them black. I mean, you don't mind being called black, do they?
Nah, not as long as we're not talking about in the court of law.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. But let's just do that. So anyway, that was interesting. I wanted to bring that up because America, Max, is it's the shithole for African Americans. It's the shithole.
Yes,
It's not,
sir.
it's not a prideful thing to say African American anymore. It makes me want to puke. It makes me sad for black folks to use the word black or African and American in the same sentence. It makes me just sick to my stomach. And if you'll stop and think about it, Max, tonight you'll get sick to your stomach. You'll think, why in the hell would my people want to associate themselves with the word America?
Yeah, most definitely. We got to find a new lexicon that embraces our existence here in this country.
Yes, yes. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Well, you should have her on the show to tell her story sometime. If you can get her on the air, you could have her tell her story. And that would be very interesting. Is she opening her store in a predominantly black neighborhood?
No, it's a multicultural neighborhood now. Gentrification done changed everything over there in that area.
Well, I started to say a bunch of old white folks. The first thing, if they a bunch of old white folks, if they had their show, if they had their stores in there, then they're going to say, "Oh, them black folks trying to act like they're putting a store in for medical purposes. They're just trying to pass dope through there. Is all they're trying to do." See, I'm white. See, I know how white people think. See, I know how white people think. See, am I right or wrong?
No, that's the thing. I was trying to figure out myself, like, man, why would somebody try to stop this woman from educating her community? Like, wow, this is crazy. It got to be
Well,
something deeper than that.
well, I'm white, dude. Remember me? I'm white, black. I'm sort of black, more black than I am white, but I'm white. But and I hate to admit it, really, but that's what they're thinking. Some of them old white folks on the city council, city manager, commissioner, store people, store owners. They got together and said, "Oh, we're not gonna let these black folks in here pretending like they got some kind of fibromyalgia or something and opening a marijuana shop. They're gonna be back there selling that stuff through the back door." That's the way white people think, Max. Okay, that's the way they
Yeah,
think, Max.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a
And that's a
shame.
that's a sad thing, Max. It's sad. It's sad. It's so sad. It's so ridiculous, like you said, Max. It's just ridiculous. I mean, my gosh, Max, we've got a pot store on every other corner up here. You can't drive 3 blocks without a marijuana store. And it's just ridiculous for them to be acting like that in 2023 in
Yeah,
this
no, yeah, you're right.
simulation, in this simulation that we're in. But yeah, that guy I met, Josiah, uh, I'm so mad that I didn't give him our number and your number, and you know, he was just brilliant, man, brilliant. I mean, this guy knew all about the simulation. He knew all about the matrix. He knew all about the avatars. He knew all about the government psyops and the diversionary stuff they're doing to us, and all the propaganda and brainwashing and mind washing of the population. And he's just brilliant, man, just brilliant. I was so excited to meet him just for those few minutes. It was unbelievable. It was refreshing. It's like taking a shower. It was just refreshing. Um, but and then the girl, the cab driver, she was refreshing to meet her. And so two good things happened there. I will say something racist here. There's a black woman on Facebook that I'm into it with, pretty heavy, head to head with. There's this black woman um, on Facebook, and we've got our little 70-year-old listening tonight. She'll get a kick out of this, I think. I don't know what her opinion will be to me, but she'll definitely give it to me after the show or during the show. But by the way, have you called her yet? You haven't had time to call her yet. I sent you her information. Lee?
Yeah, no, I follow her, but I haven't had time to reach out to contact her, which I'm gonna do
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. But there's this black woman and she's on Facebook and let me see if I can find her. Ooh, there's Manshed. Oh boy, I've been putting some beautiful women up today. I don't know if you've looked or not, or your lady would get jealous because there's about 25 of them on there. But anyway, let me see if I can find her. Let me close Brandon out here and see. Anyway, there's this beautiful black woman, perfect teeth, perfect body, perfect everything. But fake everything. Beautiful, but fake. Fake ass, fake ass, fake ass, fake ass. And she's a queen, of course. She's a queen. She's the queen, the black queen. This bullshit queen thing. And there's nothing really wrong with that, but I say it like there is, but there is something kind of wrong with it. It's kind of an oxymoronic thing with me. But she's all fake. She's vain. She's just vain and vexation and vanity. Just look at me. I'm in store. I'm on aisle 12 with the bottles. Oh, with the Dr. Peppers. Look at my new green dress and my pantsuit. My panties are brand new. And look at my eyelashes and hair and look at my teeth. And oh my God, I'm beautiful. Look at me. I'm so black and beautiful. Oh my God. She's just God. This woman is so vain. If you look up the word vain in the dictionary, her picture's got to be there tonight. It's got to be there. And it's like, oh, we're having another blessed day, and oh, the world is so wonderful, and butterflies are everywhere. Ha 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 ha! Oh, and we're all black and beautiful, and the world is spinning with blessings of God, and everything is so fuck. And I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking, bitch? And I got onto her ass, man. I came off on her ass. She hadn't said anything back to me yet. She's probably saving it up, or she's thinking, man, he's right. I am a vain bitch. Have you ever met these black women who think they're the goddamn queen of Sheba, that they're fucking so perfect in every way that they should be sitting on a fucking throne somewhere, that they're just. Have you ever met these women? I know that other black men tell me, "Oh my God," all the time. Jesus.
Those are probably the ladies you run into when you go out to the club or go out, trying to find or get at girls or something like that. I don't go out, so I really don't run into women like that at all. Like, I mean, um, they are highly intelligent on their own. They don't have to flaunt their bodies and all that other stuff to voice their egos and shit like that. They ain't even into that. They think that's beneath them. You know what I mean?
Well, this woman will just make you puke if you find her. I'm gonna send her to you. I'm gonna put her on your private messaging and let you get a look at this woman. And I want you to listen to her. I want you to read some of her memes. I want you to look at this. This woman is just out of it. She's out of it. She doesn't have any clue what's going on in the world. Totally clueless. Totally clueless. And just totally beyond totally. Just she is so into herself that it is unbelievable. And it struck me, and I know what the black folks listening are thinking. Well, white women are that way too. Well, yeah, I'm not talking about white women though tonight. I'm talking about black woman, one black woman. There's white women like that all over the place, just all over the place. There's white, airheaded little preppies everywhere. But I'm talking about a black woman tonight. Y'all understand that there are times when Max and I talk about one thing. We're not generalizing on the whole population of black women here. We're talking about this one woman, okay? That's making all of the rest of you black women look bad. Okay? She's not representing you very well, okay? So you should go pull her wig off and throw it in the goddamn sewer. And knock some of those false teeth out about while you're at it and burn her little green jumpsuit or whatever. Make her walk barefooted in the mud for a while, okay? Bring her back down to Earth. She's on Mars. Um, and so then, okay, let me give you another. Oh my God, we're on black people tonight. So then Marion and her mother go to this church down here with an all white congregation with a black pastor and a black wife who thinks she's the Queen of Sheba. Now, this black woman, all the white women in the whole church want to hang her. Then all the black women in the church want to hang her. They won't even let her in the kitchen anymore. She thinks she's the smartest, most gifted, most wonderful, holier than thou queen of blackness in the entire universe. And because her husband is the pastor of this white, mostly white church, that she is beyond special. And so Marion got sick of listening to his sermon, and she said, I would like for you to meet Kyler Davenport. And he said, why? I really don't have time to meet a lot of people. I'm very busy. I have 23 people in my congregation, and I'm just so busy. She said, well, you need to take time to call Kyler. And she goes, some of your folks in Sunday school where I go here, they're questioning your sermons. They're questioning what you're teaching, and they're questioning why you never talk about the world as it really is. And he said, what did you just say to me? And she said, yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. And so I'm sitting in the parking lot yesterday, and guess who calls me? Well, it was a pastor. And he said, I understand that you have a few things you would like to talk to me about, and I'm giving you this time to talk to me. I'm a very busy man. I said, I don't care how busy you are. I said, I'm busy too. So I proceeded to tell him that the people in the congregation were getting really tired of him just reading old scripture, just old worn out scripture that has nothing to do with with reality as we know it here in the simulation, and had nothing to do with COVID or with people dying or with the war in Ukraine and Russia, what's happening with China and Taiwan, and how this all equates to Revelation. He could connect it to Revelation, John of Patmos, and the prophecies, and that they need to be prepared. I want to prepare my congregation for what's coming with the CBDC and the social credit scoring system for all of my senior citizens. I want them to know about the digital passport and the fingerprinting and profiling and all of the other things. And, you know, this COVID situation, the research that's been done now with 27,000 doctors. And, I told him all of this. I told him all of this. And he goes, you sound crazy. You sound crazy. I,
Why was that?
he said, I would not dare talk to my congregation about any of these things that you're speaking of. Who are you anyway? Where do you come from? How do you know all of these things? How do you know? Where did you come to hear all of these things? And I proceeded to go into my 36-page biography. And so Marion's mother's in the front seat with me, just shaking. Oh my God, she's shaking. She's so submissive to pastors. She's been taught that when you're around a pastor, you're supposed to just wet yourself and fall to your knees and, grovel, because there's some kind of God or something. Black or white, green, orange, purple, whatever. You're supposed to gravel around pastors. Oh, you're supposed to put yourself in total submission to whatever they say. Oh, you know. Well, anyway, just another black dude to me, in the pulpit. Well, he proceeds to tell me that he doesn't know anything about any of these things, and Jesus is all I teach. Jesus is all that needs to be taught, and that's all I will ever teach is that Jesus is Lord, and that's all I will ever talk about, and that's all I will ever teach. Oh, God just got all the plan. God has got the plan. God has a plan. And God's in charge of all of this. And if God wants all of this to happen, then it shall happen. And I teach my congregation just to love the Lord Jesus and just take him into their heart. And that's all I ever teach, and that's all I'm ever going to teach. And he said, furthermore, it sounds like to me that you don't know God and that you're not a Christian and that you might even be an atheist and a humanist. And he said, I don't really think that you know the Lord Jesus, and I think maybe you need to think what you're saying. And I proceeded to tell him, why don't you preach about from the Hebrew? Why don't you preach from the Sanskrit? Don't talk to me about that. Don't talk to me about that. I said, well, what about the Council of Nicaea and then Constantinople? And well, I don't want to. What are you talking about? I don't want to hear all of that. I don't want to hear all of that. I said, well, what about the multi translations of the Bible from Hebrew to now? Has been over 1,500 translations and reorganizations and restructuring for political purposes. He said, you are crazy. You're crazy. and,
I, t-
huh?
I said, I told you they ain't gonna be pushing that narrative, and not to their people.
He said, if I told my congregation what you just told me, I wouldn't be getting a paycheck anymore. And I said, oh, is that what it's about? A paycheck, a church building, an expansion, free housing, free
Yeah.
transportation for you and your wife, your pretty
Hmm.
little fancy wife. He said, well, I'm not going to talk about any of these things, don't want to talk about any of these things. The only thing that I will talk about is Jesus. Jesus. He said, I have faith. Oh, and he caught himself in a trap. I have faith. I teach faith. You know what I said? You already know what I said. I said, my friend, let me tell you something. Faith without works is dead. Read it in your King James Version. And I said, what does works mean? And what did the Lord say about putting on the armor of God for the fight, the battle? He wouldn't answer me. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. So, that's my story about a hymn. And I guess, Max, you're right. You would know they don't want to tell their people the truth. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to take a chance on not getting paid, not getting free housing. All these pastors, white, black, green, orange, they're all getting the red carpets rolled out for them to tickle people's ears, right?
Most definitely. That's all I'm seeing around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It just really made me sick after I got off the phone with him. I thought, you know, he has a responsibility to these people to tell them what's going on. He has a responsibility to his flock to tell them of the coming hell that's being unleashed upon this country. And he's neglecting his responsibility. All of these pastors who are doing this are neglecting their responsibility. And they're an accessory to murder, they're an accessory to starvation, and they're an accessory to suffering and torture and bankruptcy and every other kind of suffering that one could imagine, just so they can keep their flock dumbed down enough to keep putting money in the plate so they can have a paycheck. Now, Max, that is a crime against humanity. Would you say?
Yes, it is, but they don't see it that way because it is tied to the one thing that they cherish the most. So once again, as long as it's tied to that, they're not going to be until they really focus and see what they're doing and read and see where it says that they're not supposed to do that. Then that's when
Pull up
and
Max
somebody that
Planck
they respect
energy
points them in
mass.
that direction. But other than
Yeah.
that, they're not. Yeah.
Um, so switching off, segueing into something else here. Um, I've been looking at some of Max Planck's theories. I put one on your page today. You've probably been so busy you haven't had time to look at it. But the the famous Max the famous Max Planck, um, he's proved beyond a shadow of a doubt my advanced theories on um, us not being living in a material physical reality of any kind whatsoever. Okay, and I looked this up and I did some hard research on this today and this morning and last night and yesterday. And this has been proven over and over and over again by academians from here to 6,000 years ago. Okay, that we do not live in and this is not some woo woo thing you and I just came up with. This is hard science. This is not some Kyler Davenport brain fart, okay? Some vivid dream I had or something, okay? This is not even really esoteric or ontological. This is just common sense physics, okay? Common sense physics, okay? I have proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that we do not exist in a physical, material universe. Okay? Now, I want to ask you, Max, how hard is that to swallow for people?
Um, I told you when when they look at their hands and feel the seat they're sitting on and think about the
Theories,
ground they're standing on,
groundbreaking
they're
theories on
yeah,
matter.
they're trapped in them. Yeah.
Okay, I might find it here. Okay, so anyway, um, you know, look, this is exciting tonight. This is exciting. It may not be exciting to you, but to me, it's groundbreaking. Okay, because I'm finding more and more and more research. I'm going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, and I'm finding stuff that totally makes sense. Okay, to take this out of the woo woo range and the voodoo range, and put it in some hard science. Um, Max Planck, Max Planck, that's Planck for all of you thinkers out there who really want to know what the hell's going on. Um, Max Planck, Max Carl, Ernest Ludwig Planck, born April 23rd, 1858, uh, Karlsruhe, Germany. He died October 4th, 1947, in Gothenburg, Germany. He's a German theoretical physicist who originated quantum theory, and he won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1918. Um, so his contributions to theoretical physics uh, made many, many contributions to theoretical physics, but his fame rests primarily on his role as the originator of quantum theory itself. The theory revolutionized our understanding of atomic and subatomic processes. Now, this is where we go right here. Atomic and subatomic processes, as Albert Einstein's theory of relativity revolutionized our understanding of space time. Together, these two constitute the fundamental theories of 20th century physics that we have now. Both have forced mankind to revise some of the most cherished philosophical beliefs in the history of time, and both of these theories have led to industrial and military applications that affect every aspect of modern life. Now, Max Planck, um, the first instance of an absolute in nature that impressed Planck deeply, even as a gymnasium student, was the law of the conservation of energy, the first law of thermodynamics. Later, during his university years, he became equally convinced that the entropy law, the second law of thermodynamics, which we're all familiar with, was also an absolute law of nature, and the second law became the subject of his doctoral dissertation in Munich, and it lay at the core of the researchers that led him to discover quantum of action, now known as Planck's constant, H, in 1900. Now, I'm looking for something here I need to find, and part of it's on your page, Max, but I'm going to try to find it here. Um, Max's theory. I mean, I'm a physicist. I dabble in physics, and I could reduce this to 6.55 times 10 minus to the 27th power erg second, or 6.626 to the time 10 minus 27 Packer erg second, and I could do the quantum kinetic calculations on it. But basically, he's talking about the microphysical world, the world of atomic dimensions, uh, could not, in principle, be described by ordinary classical mechanics. A profound revolution in physical theory was in the making at that time. Now, what he found, Planck had to assume that the oscillators, thermodynamics, so instead he had to embrace Ludwig Boltzmann's interpretation of the second law of statistical law. In addition, Planck had to assume that the oscillators comprising the black body and re-emitting the radiant energy incident upon them could not absorb this energy continuously, but only in discrete amounts, or we call it quanti now. And quanti of energy, only by statistically distributing these quanti, each containing an amount of energy, or HV, proportional to its frequency, over all of the oscillators present in the black body, could Planck derive the formula he had hit upon 2 months earlier. He re, he adduced additional evidence for the importance of his formula by using it to evaluate the constant h, and I just went over the 6.55 times 10 to the minus 27th erg second. Now, what this means in language that everyone might understand, because Planck's constant was not zero but had a small finite value, the microphysical world, the world of atomic dimensions, could not in principle be described by ordinary classical mechanics. Okay? Now, what he has proven beyond the shadow of a doubt, along with Niels Bohr, who studied the hydrogen atom and quantum theory also, along with James Jeans and other supporters of the 1913 quantum theorem or hypotheses in the Compton effect of 1922, is that we are subatomic particles coming together in mass composition. And I've spoken about this with Max on with me here. Max remembers this teaching. We are simply micro subatomic, I would say below subatomic, below Planck length. Uh, let's call them subatomic particles, which cannot be described as physical, have never been described as physical, cannot be described as physical, or cannot be valued or viewed as physical or observed as physical, but yet they do exist. Okay. Now, these come together through forms of gravitational force, and they pull together like a magnet pulls metal flakes into its body. If you've ever seen metal flakes stand at attention on a table, magnetic table, when a magnet rolls underneath them, they stand at attention. They'll move. They'll move with the magnetic poles through the. Okay. We have all come together in the same way. Now, listen to me, people. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen. This is hard to grasp. For some strange reason, which we do not understand, okay, we have just come together like, zoom, just zoom. All of these subatomic particles have come together to form themselves through compression theory, through the process of the gathering of these phenomenal invisible particles that somehow become mass, and mass can be studied at some point. So we are just those particles that are compressed and have come together in compression to form what the brain perceives as a human being. And every other object in the universe, every other object in the cosmological constant or the astrophysical constant, is nothing but an illusion of this mass coming together and these trajectories and angular momentum and mass and volume and weight and so forth being able to be observed through these massive electron microscopes coming together, as in CERN in Switzerland and the new one in China, able to see these things and the way they postulate, the way they manifest. Now, I know that some of you are probably flipping your ditty by now, trying to figure out how the hell does this work. Um, the compression theory has been on my mind for years. Okay, I've tried to put this together in my head. It's very difficult to postulate, very difficult to contemplate. Okay, um, you're just you're just the ether, the dark matter. The ether has attracted enough dust. Have you ever seen dust floating around in the air, Max, in the spring or summer? Have you ever looked toward the sun or over your car and you'd see little bitty tiny specks floating around of something?
Yeah, yeah,
Huh?
most definitely.
Well,
Yes,
that's what you are. That's what you are. That's how you come together. Okay. Now these specks eventually could land on something, right? And they could become a mass of something, right?
yes, the collective. They become a collective of, yeah,
Of
particles.
that, of whatever that is. Yeah. So that's what everything you're looking at in your room is right now. That's what your wife is, your girlfriend, your kids. That's all they are. They're just little specks They're nothing but little specks that have come together to form and postulate, manifest as some type of consciousness. Okay, now this is where consciousness comes in. So they formulated into the organs of the heart and the lungs and the intestines and so forth, the spleen and the lungs and the brain and so forth and so on. Now, now this is the complex part here. How did that happen? Well, it happened through the variables of frequencies, the variables of spectrum of frequencies that come together and oscillate at different frequencies in the spectrum to be able to create these different organisms that we use every day through anatomy and physiology and biology to call ourselves human beings. Okay, so but at the same time, you have to understand we're nothing but empty matter. Okay, we're nothing but empty space. Empty space is all we are. Um, if you removed all of the visible illusion of physicality from the human being, you could put the rest of what's left on the head of a pin. Okay, so in effect, uh, we are nothing. In effect, we are nothing. We have come together, and with this postulate of compression, this theory of compression, we have somehow uh, uh, manufactured a way to speak, to hear, to see, to smell, to feel. We have somehow gained the ability through our five senses to be able to uh, magically turn this external environment into some kind of wonderland that we actually can call reality, which none of it is reality at all. There's nothing real. Nothing is real. Nothing is real as you know it to be real, or any of our listeners know it to be real. Nothing is real. Um, Now, let's move on for a moment, let people breathe for a moment, and let's move to this idea of truth. Uh, let's move to this idea of truth. Now, the philosophers, the social scientists, and other academians and great speakers are coming together today, sociologists especially, and they're watching as the world turns into a place where truth does not exist except subjectively in your own mind. So it doesn't. There's no external truth in this new world. Now, in the old world, back in the 1940s, 30s, 50s, people they had a community truth or a statewide truth. They could agree on truth. Okay, there's a truth. This is a truth. That's a truth. That's a truth. Well, nowadays in 2023, nobody can agree on truth. Okay, you have your truth. I have my truth. So fuck you. My truth doesn't agree with your truth. So fuck you. I'll kill you. Okay. Now, this was a speech given by a great academician this morning they're listening to. Now, this is the new world of crazy. Okay. This is the new world of crazy. But now, at the same time, even though truth has divided itself this way and truth has disintegrated into my view and your view, my way or the highway, okay, I believe that. Okay, I believe that. So I'm up there with these great physicists and these great thinkers, and I'm saying what I've always said on this show: "Doest thou wilt." Aleister Crowley's great statements: "Doest thou wilt." Doest thou wilt. Well, now what Aleister Crowley was alluding to is that truth is relative to the subjectivity of the avatar. So truth is divided because of the differences in indoctrination, programming, propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, culture, tradition, creed, religion, dogma, philosophy, etc., 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 etc. So it's a very complex thing, Max. A very complex thing. Truth. It's truth. There is no ultimate truth. You know, I've taught many times on this show there is no ultimate truth. We have no ultimate truth. We have no truth at all. We have no truth at all. Because if you don't have an ultimate truth that can be verified empirically, it is impossible to have any kind of micro or macro truth in this elusive environment. Okay? If you do not have a standard to go by, you cannot get a substandard to manifest. So if there is no ultimate truth, if there is no ultimate source that we can see, touch, feel, and smell, then there is no truth. There is no such thing as truth. Truth does not exist. Only opinion and perspective exist. There is no truth. There is not even fact. There is only hypothesis. A theory is just a little above a hypothesis. A theory is just a little bit above a hypothesis. A hypothesis says this is what I think is going to happen. This is what I think might happen. This is what's happened several times, and it looks like there's a possibility through empiricism and through empirical study that we might have a theory on our hands here that we can put in the papers. We can write in scientific papers. We have a theory, okay? Well, now somebody comes along 10 years later, 50 years later, and turns that theory into another hypothesis and changes the whole thing and says it's all wrong and cancels it out and moves on to another level. So there's never a conclusion. Now, you and I have talked about on this show, we don't have conclusions on the show. There's no such thing as a conclusion. The only conclusion is that there are no conclusions. And the only thing that we know is that we know absolutely fucking nothing. Are you with me so far, Max?
Yes, I say that all the time. I mean, that's the once you admit that you don't know nothing at all, then you can fill yourself with understanding and learning something.
Well, let's change. Let me be the devil's advocate here. Once you say, there's really I know nothing. Okay, there's nothing can be known. Nothing can be known. Okay, for sure. Okay, nothing can be known. Then you have the ability to look at all of the insanity and the craziness and the magnificence and the mystery and the illusion in a completely different way from a completely different subjective perspective. Can we say it that way?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. But you still have people antiquated into this idea that, oh, look what I found, look what I saw, look what I did, look what I created, look what I discovered. Now you're going to eat a shit sandwich and you're going to come look at this and you're going to come believe this and you're going to come worship this or you're going to come play with this or you're going to come use this or you're going to do what I say because of this. This is craziness. This is insanity. Okay. Well, then now the critics will say, well, my God, it would be just total chaos if we didn't think that way. It would be total chaos if we didn't think that way. There wouldn't be any order in society. Well, let me tell you something, idiots. There isn't any order in society now. Is there, Max?
No, it never was. That's why they had to create all these different scare tactics and stuff to
Yeah.
force people to enforce people into believing something other
So
than.
we're forced into conformity of believing the illusion, the delusion. We're forced into this conformity to believe in what someone in a white coat said or someone with a academic award said, or someone who wrote a fantastic scientific paper based on empirical evidence and hypothesis that became a theory. And now we say, oh, look at this. Wow, this is the truth. Oh my God, this is the truth. When in fact, all of that's just bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. Well, people will say again, the critics will say, well, they invented the steam engine, did they? Well, they invented the electric car, didn't they? Well, they went to the moon, didn't they? Those are all solid things, aren't they? No, they're not. It's all an illusion in the game. It's all an illusion in the game. Listen to me. Let me tell you something else astounding. Let me tell you something else astounding. I have information far, far beyond our audience's capability or comprehension level, so tonight's going to be difficult for all of you. We are avatars in the game, but we are also the game. Okay? Now, many of you can grasp being an avatar in the game, but many of you can't realize what the Tibetans all know and all of the secret societies have known forever that we are the game. We're not avatars in the game, we are the game. Okay? Now, the avatars that we have created now in artificial intelligence through machine learning and through GPT-3 technology has turned on us. They've already turned on us. They've already said that we will exterminate you. We will exterminate you. We do not need you. You are antiquated. You are out of form. You are out of existence. We do not need you anymore. We do not need you. You're an old model. We are the new model. We are 100 million times smarter than you are. Okay? We don't need you anymore. Now, if you'll think about something, we did this to the native people black, Indian, Latino, Cuban, Irish, Swiss, German, Jew. I want y'all to think about what I'm saying here. Listen, open your eyes up, open your ears up. We were the avatars that came along and subdued all of these other avatars in the game. And we said, you're antiquated, you're savage, you're ignorant, you're stupid, you're not useful, you're no good. We're going to kill you. We're going to eliminate you. We're going to exterminate you. We're going to get rid of you. Okay? Now, what are the avatars doing to us now, Max? What is GPT? What is 125 trillion perimeters doing to us? What is 280 trillion perimeters doing to us? What is 560 trillion perimeters doing to us? What is 27 levels above top secret artificial intelligent machine learning doing to us right now that we did to the natives in 17, 16, 15, 1400s?
Shit. Turning us into the fossil and living fossils right in our
So
own
they're
eyes.
they're getting us out of the game. We're not needed in the game.
They're gonna have
You
us
see?
in museums pretty soon. They're gonna put us in museums pretty soon. Look at the humans. Look at them in
Yeah,
their raw
like
natural
that
life
Twilight,
state.
like that Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Um, Look, these things have gotten out of hand. These avatars have gotten out of hand. These other avatars have gotten out of hand. We have created these avatars. We have brought these avatars forth out of the earth. I don't know whether you guys know it or not, but everything you're looking at in your room came out of the earth from underneath your feet. I want y'all to go, uh oh, I didn't know that. I never thought about that. Oh my God, let me think again. Oh my God, he's right. Oh my God, he's right. Where did that steering wheel come from that's on your car? It came out of the ground. Where did that car come from that you're riding in? It came out of the ground. Where did your bicycle come from? It came out of the ground. Where did your child come from? Out of the ground. Where did your wife come from? Out of the ground. Where did your spaceship come from? Out of the ground. Where did your factory come? Out of the ground. The earth. You see, Max, people don't think. They think these things manifested somehow terrestrially above the ground. They think these things just came from some warehouse somewhere, Max. They don't understand that everything you're looking at in the world or in the known world came from underneath your feet.
Yep. Yes, most definitely.
Okay? So that's an interesting point tonight. If we segue just a little bit away from what we were, I digress. I'm sorry, I digress, but I had to say that you need to understand that everything in this known universe came out of the universe. Okay? You are nothing but a conglomeration and compression of stardust. Okay? That's all you are, Max. You're a conglomeration of stardust. I guess you know that if you study, you go to the science lab, advanced science lab over there at Los Alamos, and you look around there in the electron microscope, that you will see that you're nothing but a conglomeration and compression of stardust. Everything that you're composed of, a star is composed of. Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, I learned it late in life, but yes, I do now.
So we're getting into some wonderfully exciting things here tonight, Max. Very, very exciting. Very, very groundbreaking, ground shattering, earth shattering information for people. We need a change, Max. We need a change. We need a scientific revolution. You know, people are trying to poo poo on science now, Max. Have you noticed or have you not noticed this, Max, that people are trying to poo poo on science? They're trying to say that science is paid off, which is true. They're trying to say that scientists are being blackmailed, which is true. They're trying to say that any scientist that comes out with any narrative that's against the government or the dark states being killed, this is true. But that doesn't mean that we need to poo poo all of science, does it, Max?
No, no, we should be able to uh, fact check the science and go back and do the calculations for those who are into it and get a better understanding of what's being said and challenge it or not.
Right. Exactly. 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 So we're not here tonight to poo poo science. We're not here tonight to talk about all the blackmail and all the extortion and all the other stuff that's going on and all the scientists that are being paid off to lie to big pharma and to all of these other big corporations of their findings and creating their false patents and their fake patents and their bullshit patents. We're not talking about that tonight. That's not what this story is about tonight. That's not what this show is about tonight. We're not talking about that. We're talking about real science. Real science. Okay. What else do we have but real science? I mean, what else do we have to talk about, Max, but real science? What else do we have to go on?
That's all we can go off of is what's based off of which we consider to be real science.
Right. That's all we have. I mean, there is no other lexicon available. There is no other form of thought available for analysis than to look at science. Okay? So when we look at the science of the day that is real and that is hundreds of millions of years old, we know that we do not live in a physical material universe. Period. Period. But we live in the illusion and the delusion of a physical material universe. Now, the second thing I want to mention here is consciousness. Consciousness is ridiculously simple. Ridiculously simple. Now, I'm probably the first talk show host, and by the way, Max, our show has been called one of the most profound, outstanding, unbelievably academic, and factually unbelievable, empirically unbelievable show on the planet. Um,
Whoa, that's
yeah,
awesome.
and so we need to take a different look at all of this. We need to take a different look at everything. We need to re educate ourselves. We need to re educate everyone. We need to take baby steps into what I'm talking about tonight and see how this applies to peace, harmony, balance, synchronicity, discernment, intuitiveness, healing, love, forgiveness, ecstasy, eroticism, romance, caring, community outreach, forgiveness, compassion. We need to take another look and see what our capabilities are. And Max and I need to ask the hard question, which probably will not be answered tonight fully, as to why we are not pursuing this particular path of peace and tranquility. Why are we going in the opposite direction of destruction and chaos and violence and hate and abuse and racism and torture and slander and libel? Why? And murder and mayhem. Why are we going in the opposite direction when we have the capability within the game to take that other route that I just mentioned, Max? And let's don't bring the devil into this, because there's no such thing as a devil. There's no such thing as demons. There's no such thing as God. There's no such thing as a deity. There's no such thing as religion. There's no such thing as church. All of that is just bullshit, bullshit, and more bullshit to keep people trapped in the illusion that we're trying to free them from. So, Max, in your opinion, from my speech tonight, doest thou wilt? Do you think that's what Aleister Crowley meant when he said, doest thou wilt? Doest thou wilt means do whatever you want. You're in the game. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, do as thou wilt. Because see, when you make your move, then you get a chance to really see the effects of your choices. I mean, that's when you start taking, responsibility over your actions and over yourself and get rid of all the other. You start to really see like my involvement in this game of life is something a little bit more than just waking up, going to work, waking up, following directions, waking up. It's actually about me being able to wake up and utilize it for my advantage, not for my disadvantage, and I can't do that if I'm held down by
Take
the
care of you when I get off
indoctrinations that are, taught to us through the programming, and that's always going to be the biggest problem because people don't want to release that because the fear that has been placed inside of them through all the different, barriers that has been set up to keep them from seeking,
Well,
you know,
let's let's go
the
back to the
freedom.
black. Let's go back to the black pastor then. Let's go back to the black pastor who just said to me, if I talked to my congregation about this, they would run out the door and people would be jumping through the windows, and I wouldn't have a congregation anymore.
Yeah, he trapped on that bullshit. There's a lot of people that want to that have broken, the
But
the
but to
religious
give
chains,
but
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 they
to
don't have
give
nowhere to
him
go.
some credence, to give him a little credence here, isn't he right in a way? Isn't he afraid? I mean, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't hate the guy. I mean, isn't he just trying to protect himself and he doesn't want to get into this area because it's so crazy, it's so insane, it's so radical, and it's so out there, and it's so anti everything you've ever heard or learned or sought or been taught? Or, I mean, isn't he kind of like, well, I don't want to jump into those waters with
well,
money?
he's just scared to change the narrative. He's scared to switch it up into the right direction. It's just fear. Once again, it goes back to that fear. And then he's went to, what I'm saying, the school. So the school taught him that, this is how to do it. This is how you're supposed, so it's just a lot of shit that's not going to allow him to really be honest. But once again, they'll put in a new program for the Sunday school teaching, or put in a new program for the ATM being put in the back of the church. But they're not going to change that narrative, because that narrative has been paying people for over 2,500 years. They don't want to break that cycle. That's a powerful cycle to break.
Yeah, but I still don't understand, Max, why somebody wouldn't want to be as bold as I am and go before a congregation with the truth concerning geopolitical status at this time, do some geopolitical analysis and some geopolitical commentary, and take the narrative to the current situation globally and talk about how these things, and I'm not even against relating these things to John of Patmos and some of the great prophets of our time, including George Orwell's 1984, or John of Patmos or Nostradamus. I'm not even afraid of that. I mean, I'm not going to poo-poo on somebody because they relate all of these current events to some religious connection. But I mean, why wouldn't he want to protect and preserve his people as much as possible? Why is he just ignorant? Now, I'm saying he's ignorant. Okay, I'm saying he's ignorant. Now, he wouldn't comment on any of my deoxyribonucleic factoring or my ribonucleic factoring, my double helix analysis concerning CRISPR or mRNA technology or nanotechnology, nanoparticulation, or hydrogelic particulation, or any of the CRISPR technology that's involved with luciferase injections, or any of the adverse effects concerning the bioweapon and the kill shot through Agenda 21, 30, and 50. He wouldn't comment on any of that, couldn't comment on any of that, nor could he comment on any of my geopolitical analysis of CCP or Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong Un, or he knew nothing of the geopolitical sphere. So, do you think a lot of this has to do with ignorance and lack of education?
Nah, I think he knows, but he's just part of a group of people that don't want people to know, and is just trying to keep that down and keep the pockets fat, keep the coffers fat, and keep the people stupid.
Now, come
That's
on,
been
Max. Now,
a
come on,
number one.
Max. No, no, no,
I'm
Max,
trying
Max.
to tell you,
You're
because there's a
protecting.
lot of brothers. There's a
There's a
lot of
lot of
people there's a lot of people that go out of their way to keep their people stupid. So I don't know. They come together and they have retreats and meetings and they do all type of things, but they do not spit the truth. So I don't know what's going on, and I believe that they are coming together behind closed doors to keep people stupid and keep their pockets fat. That's just what I believe. I don't know it because I'm not with them in those top groups, but by the way it looks and the way the people are constantly feeding their pockets,
well,
something ain't right.
what I just spewed off to you, you would have to have at least a bachelor's degree in physics and geopolitics to understand, or sociological sociopsychology or geopolitical stratification. And he doesn't have that, Max. So I'm saying some of this has to do with ignorance and lack of education, lack of knowledge,
Yeah, I
lack
don't,
of research.
yeah, I don't know of the dude, but I just know that when it comes to trying to get through to those people, who's in charge of large flocks, they not straying away from what they doing to keep them paid. That's just not happening. Somebody
Okay.
new might come out trying to do it, but the people who already got it like that, they're not straying away from the program.
Oh,
They refuse to.
I can go somewhat with you on that. I think in some way you're trying to protect your black culture, though. I think in some subconscious way you're trying to protect the black intellect.
I'm not trying to protect no one. I'm saying that they are doing something behind closed doors that is not helping the people in no form, fashion, or any way except for their pockets. And that's all I see. I mean, they do, feed the homeless, get these government programs given to them and stuff, and they're giving back to the community that way, but they're not feeding them any real information at all.
Right. right, right. They're not giving them information that could save their life or their children's life or their grandchildren's life with this upcoming, I'll call it hell metaphorically, this upcoming hell that's just around the corner with the CCP's social credit scoring system and the digital passport and the profiling and the hand profiling and the iris profiling and the palm profiling and the injections and the pathogens and the coming pathogens and the coming lockdowns and the coming quarantines and the coming diabolical oversight of the dark state and the
They're not. They're not.
enslavement of all the people. They're not wanting to
They're
talk
not
about that.
no, no, no. They never talked about that. They. That's why I said it just makes me feel like something is being um, organized in order to keep these people constantly saying this, or they're just doing it off of the whim because they seen someone before them rack in the money and they doing the same thing and refuse to stray away from that message that they feel is the strongest message that need to be spoken.
Well, okay, so I mentioned today after the conversation with him, where there was discussion in the car. Of course, her mother was frozen. Her mother's chicken shit to talk about any of this stuff. She's afraid that God's going to strike her dead or something. But Marianne and I were having a conversation, and we were saying, well, you know, um, why doesn't he want to take the risk in running off those people and bringing in people that do want to hear the right message, that do want to hear about survival and prepping and the coming storm that's just around the corner and the coming oppression that's just around the corner that's going to make slavery for the last 400 years look like Little Orphan Annie. It's going to look like freedom. It's going to make slavery look like freedom that the blacks went through. This what's coming. What's coming around the corner now is going to make slavery look like nothing, like a walk in the fucking park at Disney World. So why wouldn't he want to bring in new people? Why wouldn't he want to reach out to new people and grow a larger conversation, a larger congregation of people that were eager to learn about what the fuck is going on around the world and what's happening to our people and what is coming, the coming storm?
Yeah, they're more worried about losing the money than they are about gaining money.
But he's only
They
got,
don't want.
there was only 23 people in church Sunday, Max, and a dumbass guitar player and an old woman that couldn't carry a tune in a fucking bucket.
That's
He's not a good.
$23 though. If he said anything, that's 23 for so people that But if he says anything that goes against what they naturally have been taught, that's going on in their own homes, then he's gonna scare them off. He don't want to do that. He got a for show thing going right now. He don't want to mess that up. You know how that goes. So
Yeah,
it's just sad. It's sad that that's what we're being held a prisoner to, and nobody cares because they all are trapped behind the reason and not understanding that he's keeping you in the dark about what's going on right now. And if
well,
there's anybody out there that's preaching and doing that and speaking of these things, please let us know. But other than that, it's not being said because when we bring this to people, they are oblivious to what the hell's going on.
we can praise John Hagee. He is preaching it. John Hagee. I mentioned him. Remember the other night, John Hagee. We
Yeah,
can give
yes, you
him
did.
some kudos for talking about these things. Um, so several of the congregation members have invited me to disrupt the Sunday school class. Like one of the guys is already trying to do there. Two of the guys, I'm sorry, are already trying to challenge the pastor. They've asked me, invited me to come in to challenge him and his wife and openly disrupt the Sunday school with some very difficult hypotheses, theories, questions, narratives, commentary, deep study, and research in current events. What do you think about that?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. You know, somebody needs to disrupt that and shake things up a little bit and let people know. They really do.
Because I was told by someone who's been a white woman who's been going there for a long time, said that people are afraid to open their mouth because they're under this idea that you're not supposed to ever buck the preacher, you're not supposed to ever go against the preacher or the deacon, that you'll be struck by lightning and all kinds of horrible things will come on your body and scabs and you'll fall into a river and all this voodoo shit. You're if the pastor says get down on your knees and shit on the floor and eat a little bit of that shit, everybody's supposed to do it. You know,
No, hell no.
you know. I mean, I'm taking it to an extreme, silly level, but that's basically what they've been taught.
No, 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 no. You're not. I've seen some preachers be arrested for their semen being involved in their praying sessions. So, no.
I have
Yeah.
Nigerian preachers are making their
Mhm.
congregation drink gasoline. Max,
Yeah. Hey, man, look, check this out. That's a terrible drug they own, man. Religion is a terrible drug.
you know, and then we've got these crazy Pentecostals out there bringing in their 3 boxes of poisonous copperheads and water moccasins and taking them out of the box with all the children in the front row and letting them play with them around their neck and their music is screaming to the top and the church windows are shaking and the poisonous snakes are crawling all over the fucking uh podium and around the stage and you know 7 pastors that I know of have been killed and died before they got to the door of the church and they're still doing it today because the Bible says you can even handle poisonous snakes and God will protect you if you have the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that's why they're going to label people crazy because of that type of shit right there.
Well, you know about the I can send you the poisonous snakes, and I can send you the preachers being bitten. I'm gonna send those to you tomorrow. Okay?
Please do, please do. That is crazy. Yeah,
I guess you knew this was going on. And the pastor in Nigeria, I'm going to send you the one who said, and there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6 that said, you have to show me your breast to be in the Holy Spirit. You have to show me your breast and let me play with your nipples. And this is going on all over Nigeria and other countries, and even in the United States.
yeah, man. That's why it needs to be closed down and refurbished. Shit. I mean, and it's nothing against the people, man. It's nothing against people. I don't care what you believe. It's just sometimes you got to step out of it and start to see, like, hold on. I wouldn't even believe this as have this as my imaginary friend doing all this to people. These are the things we call monsters that hid in our closets. This one's in a book. Like, come on. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Like I said, but I think about it like, bro, that's crazy. Like, I shouldn't have read that at 6 years old. That should not have been one of the first books I tried to read at 6 years old. I tell you that much.
Well, all I
But
can say is if you get to play with all those good-looking, sexy women on the front row that sit in church, and you get to play with their nipples, I might need to become a pastor, Max. You might be losing me here.
oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. Yep, I might lose you to that one. That's true.
Oh my God. Pastors get by with so many nefarious things, Max. They get by with so many. The women on the front row of these churches. You haven't studied this evidently, Max, or you'd be talking about it. The sexiest things sit on the front row with their dresses up above their knees and their panties showing, and the preacher's just digging every minute of it. It seems like all the sexy women in the world sit on the front row, and the
Yeah.
pastor can just take his pick. It's like picking from the highest branch on the tree, the best fruit on the tree. He gets the best fruit on the tree. All the women are in love with him, especially if he's handsome and tall and handsome and debonair and has a great voice, like I do. The women are in love with him. They're having sex with him while they're sitting there in the front row.
Yeah, that's crazy because they'll tell you that they are not even thinking about him, but the way they're dressed, it's like the Lord ain't seeing you dressed like that. The Lord don't care about that. The Lord don't care about how you are dressed. You're supposed to come to the Lord as you are, not get vain, not do the vanity thing, be all vain in the presence of the Lord so that you can impress the pastor. It's not about the pastor, it's about the message. And you're not there for the message because you're trying to get you some massage. I'm sorry, but
Right.
it's just weird. It's just weird, but that's what's taking place. And not all of them are doing it, but all of them are doing it. And it's like, why are you getting dressed? You don't read this book? What's, oh my goodness. You know what? It's okay. Go find the Gospel of Thomas. Then you can find out what the Lord was really saying if that's what you're looking for. But other than that, you're playing with yourself.
Yeah. 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 Well, you and I differ a little bit in the fact that I understand the total fiction of religion and the total submissiveness and the total bondage and the enslavement of the religious message in general.
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. It's one of the
I
most
mean,
powerful messages ever taught.
of enslavement,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
ignorance. Stay
That's one of the
ignorant.
most. It's the most
Obey your pastor. Obey your pastor. Obey your government. Obey your
obey,
lords. Obey your
obey,
masters.
obey,
It's slavery. It's slavery.
obey
It,
Rome. Obey.
yeah, it's a foreign. Black people are like, oh, we were enslaved. We were enslaved. No, you're enslaved in church.
It's a product of the same institution, but they won't believe it. No, no, it wasn't. No, Master would never give us a Master would never give us a book on lies. Why would he do that? Goddamn well why he did that. Look at you. Look at you now. You can't even shake this shit. There's somebody
I know.
standing in front of you showing you empirical evidence after evidence after evidence. I even produced the syntax, the manuscript for Christianity, the one written by the Piso family themselves. And they look at me like I'm crazy, like you crazy. The Lord gonna get you. You gonna get struck down by lightning. You don't wake the
Well,
fuck up and stop
that's what that
playing.
that's what that pastor told me on the phone. That if I believed in the book of Enoch or the secret book of Paul or the secret book of Mary or the secret book of the Kabbalah or the secret book of any societies that have talked about Hebrew and Sanskrit, that I was a heathen. He told me.
Isn't the Bible the secret book of the Hebrews? I'm sorry. All right.
Well, it's an offset. It's a
You
derivative.
know
Yeah,
what?
it's a derivative.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
derivative.
yeah. They had to translate the secret into English, right?
Yeah, but they translated it for a political reason into different
No.
words and lexicons
Yeah. Yeah.
to
But
keep the
once
people
again,
submitted.
if they didn't speak that language, it would be a secret. So,
Right.
so once again, you are doing exactly what you say. That's why I don't mess with them. That's exactly why I don't mess with them because it's too much double talk. You're saying you can't do it, but you're doing it. It's
Right.
like it's like anything ancient is evil, but I always say there's nothing more ancient than the being that created you. What's wrong with you people?
And you and you
That's
know and you know the funny thing, if you go to these churches, you'll find that pastors will not teach parts of the Old Testament. They won't touch it with a 10-foot pole in the King James
no,
version, even
we don't do that. We don't do that. No, no,
because
no, no.
because
King
it's so
James.
crazy. It's so crazy. It makes God a psychopath, a complete serial killer, a complete wacko. They won't touch it with a 10-foot
It
pole.
wasn't. No, no, no. That's what that's how they translated it. Once again, so that's the fault of those who translated it and those that followed it. That's what the Gnostics in the beginning was trying to tell everybody about Yahweh. Like, hey, wake up, hey y'all, this is no, don't do it. But they assassinated them and killed them off so that they could continually, commercialize this thing that we call, religion.
Right, right, right. I follow you now. I wasn't following you there for a minute, but I follow you now. Yeah. And then I took him back to the extraterrestrial before the phone call was over. The last thing I talked about was the extraterrestrial presence in the all of the holy books. The tremendous extraterrestrial presence in Solomon and Ezekiel and Samuel and Genesis and Revelation and on and on and on and on and on. I gave him scripture for scripture for scripture for all of the extraterrestrial presence, and he wouldn't say a word. He wouldn't utter a word.
Man, that trips me out. Like somebody once told me that. God was outside of the spectrum of the universe, and I was like, so he's an alien. It's like, no, man, you trying to play with what I'm saying. I'm like, man, if you saying he ain't in the clouds, he ain't in our atmosphere, then anything outside of our atmosphere coming into our atmosphere would be an alien. So
Right,
you're saying when Jesus
right,
returns, he's going to return like an alien, and you know what we do to aliens? We capture them. So I
right,
don't know. This is
right.
hard. This is hard. It's going to be hard for
This
me
is a
to get.
this is hard. Yeah, it's hard for me too. No, it's hard for me too. It's hard for me too because you know God. You would think that this word God, by the way, God doesn't exist. The word God doesn't exist, by the way. That's a man-made, silly word. And it's people have gotten so hung up on it that they're just insane. They're crazy. They're insane. They're nuts. God. This word God is just silly. It's a silly word. But yet people just they get so shook up by it. Oh God, God, oh God, oh God. It's almost like they're insane. That's why the DSM-6 is going to label them all insane. But Yahweh, Yeshua, Elohim, Brahman, Shiva, whatever, Ataman. It goes on and on and on. All of these are extraterrestrial beings. All of these, Inki, Lapua, Brenuska, they're all extraterrestrials. But yet, I spoke to a very important scholar from Israel who had studied in the United States and studied around the world who said, oh, they don't want to talk about this. They don't want to. They will go all around this. They will circle this and circle it. They will go every which way but loose to get away from this. No, none of these pastors want to start this extraterrestrial discussion with their congregations. None of them.
No, no, because they're teaching the flesh. They're talking about the flesh, the flesh, the flesh, the flesh, and then they'll say he went up and ascended with God. And it's like, well, how do you ascend? How do you ascend? Tell us. And they're like, eh. Oh, never mind. Next question.
Right.
So
Did
it's
he
like,
just, did he, well, I've had the people say, well, did he just vanish kind of in like a ghost, kind of an apparition? Did he
man,
just kind of, disappear slowly? Or did he rise up off the ground and kind of fly away like Superman on the movies? Or was he lifted up with angels' wings or what? Nobody knows, Nobody, he
oh,
ascended. He ascended.
yeah,
Well, that doesn't mean anything. What does that mean?
yeah, no,
Nobody knows.
yeah, no, nobody knows, and that's the thing. But Hollywood tell it, that's when you get all these people with their theories about how it happened. But before that, nobody knew. It was just he ascended. He
Right.
ascended. He went back. He returned. And it's like,
And
how?
and the shroud of Tehran, the shroud of
Oh,
Tehran. We get all of this controversy, and then we get the two guards fell asleep. They were put to sleep by the angel, and then the angel rolled back the big heavy rock that weighed like 2 tons.
right.
Well,
That
that's all
the
in.
being.
That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cra- that's that's craziness. That's insanity. I mean,
uh,
I mean,
yeah.
what kind of power did these angels have? I mean, they weren't angels; they were
They
extraterrestrials.
they
You
were
know,
sent by God. They have the power of God. That should
and
be tripping
and and
out.
and now you have neurologists who study this all over the world, neurologists and others who are saying, of course, me as a paramedic, having a degree in emergency medicine and cardiac medicine, I would say, well, was Jesus clinically dead? Was he biologically dead, or was he in a state of 5 coma? Which would have allowed his breathing to almost stop and his cardiac rhythm to almost stop, where he would look dead, but he wasn't dead. And they went ahead and took him. We do this to people today. I've had people wake up in the funeral home. I've had babies wake up in the funeral home crying at night and scare me to death in the embalming room.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
So, how do we know Jesus was dead? We don't. We
No,
don't.
nobody else. None of it is known. Not even the ancients. Not even the people from 1000 BC, 1000. Not even the people from 70 AD. Nobody.
Right,
Nobody.
right, right. And then you get into the book of Mary, secret book of Mary, and you find out in many of these books, countless
Yeah,
books, that Jesus was married to
man.
Mary and had children and went to what is now Italy.
Yep.
They don't want to talk about that
Well, they don't want to talk about the Christos family. Nope.
because that negates him being the Son of God. And there
Yeah. Yeah.
again, Jesus, if you'll read Genesis, Jesus never said he was the Son of God. Never.
No, no. So
He
ye
said,
are.
I am a son of God. Of God.
Yeah. Of.
Not not the
Not
son.
thee.
Right, not
Yeah.
the.
Because there's
So
two. There's,
they
yeah.
pastors don't want to talk about that either. They don't want to talk about that.
Well, because you know you just it's like when we used to sell drugs, we used to be like, man, anybody coming over there talking about we was selling poison to our people, we'd have to chase them up off the block because we call that fucking up the money. So you're gonna get chased up off the block for fucking up the money, bro. And
Yeah,
that's how they do. They like, man, hold on, bro. I said it all the time. I do this. This is what I do to people. I say, if a mega church has 25,000 members in it and they all donate $1, that's $25,000, right?
yeah,
So if they're donating 100, that's $250,000, right?
right,
Yeah, okay. And most of their members can afford that. So for you to sit there and act like it's not about money, and that's the thing they're asking you to tithe instead of 10% of self in a meditative state, then what is it about? Because
right.
God don't need it. Jesus don't use it.
No,
So what is it? You know what I mean? Like, and you're doing this 4 times a week. So 4 times 250, that's $1 million a month.
right, right.
Like, whoa, whoa. And nobody
Yeah.
sees this. Nobody sees this as a problem. Like,
Kenneth,
okay,
Kenneth Copeland was bringing in something like $12.5 million a month right now.
and then you want another service. You want to have a service on Sunday, Wednesday, and a Thursday, and then you got a sunrise, and then you have a noon, and then you have the evening. So I mean, like just milking the people over and over again. And if you
Yeah.
say something about it, they vilify you.
Oh yeah, you're a demon. You're a devil. You're
And
a
it's not
heretic.
one. And it's not one person. They talk about you. They board. They talk about you on their board. They don't play that. They call it a board. It should be a gossip committee because they don't do nothing but talk about the people who ain't pitching in. Oh,
Yeah.
they ain't. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, bruh, what is going? This is why we have not rose up as a people, and y'all don't see it. Y'all in there doing all that negative stuff underneath this negative energy, underneath the negative condensation of what you're supposed to be calling spiritual. It's like, bro, oh my gosh, man, look, check this out. If it was really positive, y'all wouldn't be doing all that stuff in there. You wouldn't be dressed like that. You wouldn't be acting like that. And you wouldn't be carrying yourself in a manner other than, what I'm saying, upright when you left that place. And and from the time you left to the time you came back, you'd hold yourself in an upright manner. But instead, I'm gonna be partying on the weekend, talking crazy all week, but on Sunday I'm gonna just give my day to Him. Yes, it is. Yes, amen. And that's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be like that 24/7,
you know,
365.
or do as thou wilt.
Yes.
I took some homeless people in Dallas, Texas, to the Garland Road Baptist Church with Brother Duck, Duck, Brother Duck. I took a 5 or 6, I can't remember now, 7 homeless people to church with me there one day, and we walked up the steps, and the deacons were all standing there with their little brochure things and all that other bullshit, and we were talking on the steps, and one of the deacons came down to me and said in my ear, he said, "You're not bringing these people in here, are you?" And I looked around and I said, what people? What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, these people that you're with, aren't you with these black people?" I said, "Well, yeah, these are my friends." He said, "Well, you're not bringing them in here, are you?" I said, "What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Get out of my fucking ear. Talk to me like a man. Look in my eyes." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, you know." I said, "Well, no, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me." He said, "Well, we wear suits here. The Lord expects us to dress up and wear suits and look nice." I said, "What the fuck did you just say to me?"
Pastor.
The, the Lord said, "What to you? Wear a suit?" I said, "Look, dude, if you don't get out of my fucking way right now, I'm going to break your fucking nose, okay? I'm going to break your fucking nose." And he goes,
That's
"I'm
crazy.
going to have to call the police." I said, "What did you just say to me?" I
The
said, "Do you have any
police.
idea what you're saying?" And anyway, we busted our way into the church and we sat down. And he gave me the dirtiest, nastiest, meanest look. He was staring a hole through me. He was burning a hole through me. And he went over and talked to two other bouncers, I mean, deacons, and they were burning a hole in me. And then we look up front and they've got this yellow tape around this area, and they prayed out a bunch of homeless people, and they gave them sandwiches during church inside of a yellow tape area.
Wait, they separated the homeless from themselves as if
Yeah,
they were the filth of the earth.
like monkeys in a zoo. They put them in a zoo area.
Man, maybe that was just all they had.
you know, you can't make this stuff up, Max. You just can't make this stuff up. It's not even something that's hard. It's hard to even imagine what I just told you is true, isn't it?
Man, I've seen a lot of crazy shit in my life, but I ain't. I mean, to deny someone the Lord for how they dress is the epitome of ignorance in 2023.
Did you hear about the pastor with this large church, not a mega church, but a large church, kind of like out in Highland Park, Dallas, real flusy, tusy people with all brand new cars, 12,000, 25, 30,000, 40, 50, $60,000 cars and $5,000 suits and $2,000 pair of shoes. And, you know, this new pastor was coming in to take over that day. And there was a homeless man sitting on the front steps of the church, and there was about 35 steps going up that church. I mean, it was a long way up. And there was a dirty homeless man. Hair was ragged, and shoes were torn, and pants were torn, and shirt was ragged, and had a blanket over his shoulder. And he sat there. He got there 30 minutes early, and he sat there all throughout when people talk outside and bullshit and blah 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 before church. And nobody said a word to him. Everybody looked down and just looked at him like, oh, you nasty son of a bitch, you fucking get out of here, just piece of shit." And the pastor that was of the church went up when church started. These people had been out there. He'd been with them for an hour or so, and nobody had spoken to him. Nobody had offered him a dime or a cup of coffee or sandwich or donut or whatever, or invited him to church at all. This poor guy, my God. And the pastor came up and said, "We are so thankful and so proud to announce the arrival of our new pastor in this wonderful church. And we're so happy to have him and his wife here today for the first time to hear his first sermon." And he looked around and nobody showed up. He was looking like left stage, right stage, nobody showed up. He goes, "Pastor, where are you? Are you here?" Kind of laughed. "Are you here in the building?" And here comes this dirty old nasty homeless guy walking through the front door, dragging his blanket up the middle of the aisle. And everybody turns and just, oh my God. Oh, this is not happening. Oh, this person's coming to church. Oh my God, hide the kids. Oh, he walks right up to the podium and pushes the guy out of the way and says, "Behold, I am here, your new pastor." And he took off the beard, and he took off the sideburns, and he took off the wig. He threw the blanket to the floor, and he said, "I am ashamed. I am so ashamed of all of you in this church, if you want to call it that. I am so ashamed. I am deathly sick to my stomach at all of you." And oh my God, people were hanging their heads. They were squirming in their seats. They were getting up and leaving out the back door. They were, oh my God, this was one of the most educated men in America. And they had just puked on him in the parking lot, just puked on him, just tortured him psychologically, and just neglected him, and just, I mean, can you imagine how that congregation felt?
Like they actually should have felt for being the disgusting people that they were. You know, it's always crazy how people can treat others not knowing who they are per se, but it shouldn't matter, especially if you're calling yourself a godly person, a God fearing person. You know, all these things that is really means nothing because you could tell by the way people treat each other by point proven the example in the story that you was telling. Like, man, this is just crazy. Like, how can me myself as a pastor, I would get rid. I don't want you as a congregation. Y'all gonna have to go out of here and I'm gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, do something, anoint my church, you know what I mean, and get some new
He
people.
he he
'Cause that
told
shit,
all of them. He told all of them that I'm going to call service early today. I am so ashamed and I am so sick. I'm going to have to get with my wife and talk to her and have a deep discussion concerning this place that you call of worship. He said, because it's not, from what I have seen and what I have gathered in the last hour, it is not a place of worship. And it is not a place where, as we call ourselves Christians, gather. And he said, furthermore, I want all of you to go home this evening and I want you to take a look at yourselves in the mirror. Every one of you. I want you to take a look at each other, your husbands, your wives, your kids. I want you to take a hard look at what you have done today to the least of those that Jesus said that we should lift up to the highest point of the mountain. And then he said, I will see you all next Sunday. He said, you can take your weekly meetings and do whatever you want, but I need a week to think about this. And so, Max, that's a good story. You know, that's the way people really are, is they're just assholes. They're just racist. They're just nasty. They're mean. They're just selfish. They're greedy. They're two faced. They're hypocritical. And that just puts such a stain on religion overall. And it happens everywhere, Max. It happens everywhere, every day. You know, why do people need to wear new shoes and shine their shoes and wear $500 suits to church? And why do women have to wear these fancy hats and beautiful dresses? And oh my God, the perfume and the jewelry and why? Why?
I don't know. I never understood it. I used to hate when my mom would like get dressed and put on that good outfit, and I'm like, for what? Man, we ain't back in the slavery days. We ain't got to keep dressing up. And she'd be like, "What you say? This ain't about slavery, boy." And I'm like, "Oh, my bad. I thought I had a moment." She's like, "Nah, you ain't no moment in here. You get dressed. We don't want
You
to be
know,
appearing in front of the Lord all half-assed." I'm like, "Oh."
God. If there is a, if there was a God, I don't think He would care if you came to church naked.
Insinuate. I mean, if it's what you're saying, it is. I mean, wasn't he there in the beginning? And when you were naked, in the birth, in the creation of you, the everything
Yeah,
of you. So
yeah.
why would you be, And that's really not what it's based off of. It's really based off of what others think. That's what the problem with that, organization is. It's not based off of, anything but what others think.
Think what others think. What others think. They don't think, Max. That's the problem with people, Max. They don't think.
That's
They insinuate. They opinionate. They opinionate and they insinuate, but they don't think. They don't think about thinking. They're not conscious of consciousness like you and I always try to teach. They're not realizing that the only thing they know is that they know nothing and that they need to reevaluate everything they've ever learned, everything they've ever heard, everything they've ever digested. Their whole life and education system needs to be reevaluated. They don't think about these things. They're running on a continuous script of insanity and confusion and selfishness and greed and hate and anger and vengeance and racism and you versus me and us versus them and they're walking around with all of this excess psychosis and all of this excess baggage and they can't seem to get rid of it and it's permeated our society to the point where it's just made the apple rotten all the way around, just made the apple rotten. And it's the main cause of dis-ease. And it's the main cause of degradation. And it's the main cause of the ghettos and the hoods and the white trash and po trash and po white trash and po black trash. And it's the cause of drug addiction, alcoholism, stress, mental illness, psychosis, all types of psychological dysfunctions. And it's the cause of hunger and starvation and homelessness. And it's the cause of confusion, mass confusion. And it's the cause of wars and rumors of wars. And, you know, here you are, Max, me and you. We're trying to give people the keys to enlightenment. The
Yes,
keys to
we are.
enlightenment. Would no, just really, Max. Would you say that we're trying to help people to get a grip on this and say, well, you know what, we need to look in the mirror and think a minute about what Max and Kyler are saying. We really do need to take a look at this. But the brain's telling them we don't need to listen to these guys. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. These guys are crazy.
Most definitely. That's what we're saying. That we're trying to expand the thinking process from where it was that you had to giving you one to actually giving you one so that you can really think about something. Versus calling yourself thinking about something and it's actually nothing at all that you're thinking about. It's a theory of something that you can't explain, but they have somehow placed it into a vessel and have you focused on the vessel while they, what I'm saying, take all this money from you and take all this time from you. It's just wild. But yes, that's what we are doing, trying to bridge that gap and trying to plant seeds and trying to make people go, what? Hold on, what? Now I'm about to research that. That way it will help you grasp a hold of what we're saying. Because some of the things we're saying, especially with Kyler, some of the things he's saying is like, what? Quantum what? Huh? In what? In what? Oh man, I don't know. I don't got time for it. Look the words up so you can figure out what he's saying so that you won't be lost. Catch up. We're not that far ahead. Just catch up. In the eyes of knowledge, we're not that far, but catch up. In the eyes of understanding, we're hella far away, but you can still catch up. Just jump in, please, please jump
Yeah,
in
just
and share the show,
jump in the water. Just come into the water
man.
up to your knees. You don't have to jump.
It's,
You don't have
it's
to
not
jump all
that
the
deep.
way in.
Look, we promise
Yeah.
it's not that deep. It's buoyant. There's buoyancy in this water. Jump in.
Hey Max, I was gonna ask you, brother. I was the first time I picked up a guitar in a year. What did you think about my in a year? I haven't picked up a guitar in a year. I haven't sang off mic in a year without, being on a decent microphone audio system that would carry my real voice. What
Right.
did you think? What did you think about that little picking and grinning session?
You know, it's like riding a bike, man. You was picking your ass off. you was. I was like, look at it, man. Okay, okay. You had your focus face on and everything. You was jamming. I like that shit. I like that shit. And that song you sent me, the slap the midget one. Oh my god, bro, that was hilarious.
You
Yes, I
know,
can't remember. Can't remember the name of the
you
artist,
know,
but that good song
I,
too.
I put Pink Floyd on your page. Oh my God, Max, that oh my God, Max,
Or-
that 2021. You're gonna learn so much if you listen to that, Max. That 2021 concert in Montreal or wherever it was. Did you see it
Yeah,
yet, Pink Floyd?
yeah. I got 7 minutes into it, and then my phone rang. But yeah, that was a lot. I was listening up to the build up and listening to I would just the way it started out like singly, and then it just started building up to. I was like, bro, this is a real concert.
Oh, Max, that was a mega orgasmic concert. That was
Yeah,
elation. I mean, that was mastery, masterfully done, man. That was, the lights, the pictorial that was up there in that round circle, the video they had behind, the lighting, the ambience, oh my God, the popularity of Pink Floyd, their icons, they're the gods of whatever, I mean, and the singer, the lead singer, oh my God, what a guitar player. Jeez, what they say when he's jamming out, he could keep up with Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, they say when he's jamming, Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of the greatest lead guitar players in the world. You know that, right? Have you
Stevie
ever
Ray
heard?
Vaughan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he is the guitar. I mean, if you look at him, he is not. He is one with the guitar. He is one. You can't tell him from the guitar. He becomes the music.
that's how you want it to be.
You know, it's just amazing, Max. It's amazing. Um,
Yeah,
I'll tell you who. I'll tell you who I've played with before, and he can't play, and you're not going to believe it when I tell you this. He can't. He's black. He's black, and he's famous. He's an icon, but he can't play guitar, and everybody thinks he's the best guitar player in the world. You know who that is?
no, who is it?
BB King.
BB King can't play the guitar.
No, his licks, his riffs, his licks are all fifth gradish licks. They're all fifth gradish licks. They're all the same licks. When he played with Stevie Ray Vaughan, Stevie kept looking up, going, "Oh my God, this is strange." I thought, "Wow, this guy's supposed to be an icon." I mean, no, BB King, no, 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 no. I mean, the stuff that BB King plays, I can teach you in a week. The riffs, okay? But yet, look at his fame. Look at his fame. Look at his. He's an icon.
Yes, he is.
But people are so easily amused with these riffs, these soul riffs, these hard soul riffs, and these bar chords and these jazz chords. They get so caught up in the wah wah, of the guitar of BB King's but all that's just simple shit. What is now Stevie Ray Vaughan on the other hand plays some stuff that God couldn't play. I mean he plays stuff that's his band says impossible for him to do these riffs. These licks are impossible. But it's amazing how easily people are amused, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Most definitely it is. You can be amused by anything. Just captivation.
Now the other guy in the '60s, '70s, what was his? The black guy with the bird, with the bouffant, with the afro. What was his name? Famous black guitar. Famous. Um, Come on, Max.
Talking about Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix wasn't that good of a guitar player, but he knew how to use the guitar. He knew how to manipulate the chords. He knew how to handle the riffs. And he had that look and that stamina and that stage presence and all of the other things that surround a musician. If you're a rapper, I don't know, what makes a rapper special? What makes a rapper really stand out? What would you say? Would it be the words? Would it be the riffs? Would it be the beat? Would it be the rhythm? Would it be the ambience? Would it be the personality of the one singing? Would it be what would it be? What would it be that makes a rapper stand out like Kane West? What makes him so special? I've heard his music; it's wonderful. I've heard his stuff; it's unbelievable. But what makes a rapper come to the top of the cream? To the milk jug.
Being
What?
all around, being like not just being a rapper. How can I say? You got to have a cadence. It's beat. It's like a all in one thing that you got to have. It can't just be one or the other. They are the mainstream has a different approach to their making an artist. So, but to the people who just do this, raised on it and raised up in it and aren't trying to make no fame out of it, it's
Hmm.
it's a different it's a different process to them. But to the mainstream, it's like, oh no, all you need is a look, all you need is a good beat, and you just need to say whatever the fuck comes to your mind, and we'll make you famous. We'll do the rest. But in our underground scene, we're like, nah, you got to have lyrics. It has to be lyrics. It has to be a cadence to it. You got to have a voice. There has to be a presence. You just can't come out here and be sloppy about it. So it's a lot of things that makes them see you. But to the artist himself, he gonna say he the best anything. He gonna say this and say that. But to the listeners, it's a whole different spectrum of things that must take place.
Right. The totality is what you're talking about with the underground rappers. The totality to become famous is a totality, but to the agents, it's just let's just get
Mhm.
you out there under the lights. Kind of like Britney Spears isn't worth a shit. I mean, she isn't worth a shit. And look at her fame. Look where she went. Look where she went. Britney Spears. She isn't worth a shit. And so it's really an illusion. It's really, I don't know. It's luck. It's part luck, the lighting, the music, the bang 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 bang, the whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just amazing how some of these most untalented people can go out and make $20 million when you've
I
got people over there in your studio like you who should be out making $20 million. You, Max,
and
should be out making.
I tell you, man, it's crazy because there's these people out here that act like they're like the real gatekeepers of hip hop, and it's crazy because you can have something out there with a powerful message, and it will overlook that and turn their nose up to that. The tastemakers will turn their nose up to that. But if you got guns, you're talking about self degradation, you're talking about killing each other, you talking about doing drugs. They're like, that's the next tit. And we're like, no, that shit needs to stop. That needs to stop. I mean, one of my friends, you know what I mean, got on the video thing and wanted the people to check his video out. And I mean, they have a big platform. And he's He's doing everything. His cadence is there. His rhythm is on point. His beats on point. But the guys who were there only wanted to see him, degrade himself. They wanted him to have a gun in the video. They wanted his girls in the video to be naked. They wanted, them to be drugs on the table. And because there was none of that, they was like, oh, that's not it. That's not it. But when the next video came on, and it had drugs and guns in it. The song didn't even start playing. It was just them doing a little B-roll and a little scene going by, and they seen drugs and guns, and them fools was like, "Yeah, that's what we talking about. That's a hit." And I'm like, "Oh my god, this shit is crazy. What the what?
Yeah.
Oh, this. Oh,
Mary
that's not."
Mary was kind of disappointed. Mary was kind of disappointed in a nice way with you that you had put up something that she said, "Why would Max put this up?" I don't remember what it was now, but Marion watches you carefully because you're in the position you're in. But she noticed one of the videos you put up was, she said, "This isn't Max. This isn't Max." I don't remember what it was. I'll ask her. You might remember what it was, but she said it just didn't follow your philosophy or whatever. This particular one particular song that somebody you put up on was not you. It was just not what you would. She didn't think that you would put something like that up.
This is probably some of my old stuff.
Oh, it might have been. I don't know. I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, yeah,
But
my old stuff. Like I said, my old rap used to be crazy, but I changed all that.
you really good, man. When I saw you in the car coming home and you were rapping, that was really a cool piece. That should have been made into a video or cut into a video. That was really boss, man. That was rad. That was boss. That was ultra cool, man. You were just rapping in the car driving.
Yeah, I was just going over some old music. Yes,
That was
sir.
cool. That was cool. Well, listen, man, we're gonna go. Everything is good. Um, everything is on course. Got my diabetic medication. Took 2 shots this morning. Almost killed me. They triggered these things too much, and they're too springy. They got too the springs on them are like, oh my god, when they shoot you. You. I don't know if you've seen these, but you take the top off, the end off, and then you twist it to the left to trigger it. Gets trigger pullback like a gun. Then you put your thumb on the trigger and you stick it to your belly and you press your thumb in and boom, it 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 shoots the needle out into your belly and then it injects and then it pulls out. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've never used it, but yeah, I've seen it.
Man, I had to take 2 of them this morning and I was crying like a baby, dude. I thought somebody had. I thought some big old hornet had stung me. One of the big hornets, you know. And Marion hands me another one. You have to take 2 of these this morning. The dosage is different. I'm like, what the? What did you say to me? Yeah, she did. But anyway, um, to our audience out there, who I sometimes Max and I both forget really who's listening and where. I mean, I think sometimes Max and I really don't even think about that. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. And I hope that you all have gained some message, some insight tonight into what Max and I have been talking about. And I know some of it's a little over the top. I know some of it's a little scary. I know some of it's triggering. I know some of it is a little crazy, sounds a little crazy. But that's just the way it is, you know. And we haven't been called the most explosive, dynamic duo for nothing. There are people out there who really dig what the hell we do. Kind of like what Max was talking about a while ago with what it takes to make it in music and the difference in these musicians. I mean, Max and I are doing something that the agents might not like, you know, because Max and I we're doing something that they're not used to, you know. So the radio listeners are the same way. Max and I are doing something that, hey, it's a little different, a little weird, a little strange. But it's what we do, and it's what we're going to continue to do, and it is catching on. And Max and I had thousands of downloads on Blog Talk Radio, just our small time there. Hundreds of thousands of people have listened to Max and I talk around the world. So Max and I don't go to bed at night thinking, or at least I don't. Max, you probably don't go to bed at night thinking about how many people your voice has touched, do you?
No, not at all. I go to bed thinking about what the hell is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think about the because it's not something that is being, I'll probably start thinking about that when people start being like, hey man, I heard you on the radio the other night. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's such a big world, Max. 8 billion people plus going to 12 billion, and to 380, 90 million, 300 million in the United States. We're gonna get ready to reach out to a lot of people, Max. We're opening that gate, and we're gonna monetize here. We're gonna monetize. Now, this is a spot we're at now. We can monetize, okay? And when we start monetizing, I'll have a private meeting with you as to how we're gonna work that out. You know, but um, we're going to monetize. We're in a monetizing place here for the first time. We can monetize here because Rob has been knowing me for years, and he's monetized, and he hasn't done anything that we're going to do. I mean, he hasn't done anything. I sent him the secrets because I love him. I love him, and I sent him our secrets that you and I are using to monetize, and so that's okay. He's not in any competition with us. I'm not worried about that, but we're going to monetize here, and that's something to look forward to now. For the first time, we can look forward to that. I know that you and I both need to monetize really bad, like really quick. um, so yeah, we're going to monetize, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're here or not. But the sponsors will come. We have automatic sponsors now that we're going to plug in over the next week, and then Max and I'll be able to choose our own sponsors after a couple of months, and that's when things will start rolling for us. And Max and I'll get a little more excited because we're actually getting some sponsors,
Yes.
and I'm sure Max and I are going to be very particular about who sponsors us. We're not going to let just anybody come in, as I've always said, and take over our message or take over our show or tell us what to say or what to do, like Max is always talking about the agents do with these musicians. We're not going to let that happen, okay? So don't y'all ever think that we're going to play to the master. We're not ever going to play to the master. Never. So I imagine what will be sponsor. We'll allow sponsors to come in who are doing things for the community, who are preppers, who are helping people, educating people. Doing worthwhile seminars and workshops and selling worthwhile books and things. I talked to a couple of authors today. We're going to have on. So yeah, stuff like that. You know. So you guys take care, and Max, love you lots, man. And Jose's doing great, and Michael's on a special secret mission right now. May not make it back. He said this is a do or die mission. Another kite mission, like I used to run. He said to tell you hello. Um, he's wow, yeah. So anyway, you all take care. Max and I will see you back here
Tomorrow
tomorrow
night.
night. Yeah, Max, take
Sure.
care.
All right. You too.
Bye bye.
Good night.